Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins are living through one of those stretches in the NFL season where the team's resilience gets tested in every possible way. Coming off a dominant 34-10 win over the Atlanta Falcons, the scoreboard might suggest smooth sailing, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Beneath the surface of that comfortable victory lies another brutal blow for a team that's already been juggling injuries like a circus act. The headline is clear: another player down for the year. Cornerback Storm Duck's season is officially over, and the news hits hard, especially after how promising his start had been. And while the injury bug continues to feast on Miami's roster, there's also been some buzz, and a bit of humor, surrounding Tua Tagovailoa's mysterious eye issue, which head coach Mike McDaniel downplayed in his typically quirky fashion. Let's start with Tua, because anytime something happens to the Dolphins' franchise quarterback, Dolphins Nation collectively holds its breath. Early Sunday morning before the game, Tua woke up with a swollen left eye, not an injury from the field, not a freak accident in practice, just one of those bizarre situations where you open your eyes and realize something's not right. So, when he took the field against the Falcons, fans immediately noticed the visor. It wasn't part of his usual look, and social media, as always, had questions. Was he hurt? Was it serious? But after the game, Tua laughed it off, saying he might actually keep the visor because his teammates told him it looked swaggy. You've got to love that kind of confidence, when a player can blend practicality and style after a strange morning wake-up call. Mike McDaniel, in his Monday media session, gave his own spin on the story in the most McDaniel way possible. When asked about the eye situation, he called it a blip on my radar. He joked that Tua now has a built-in Halloween costume, adding, "Outside of that, I think it's not really on my radar." He made sure to reassure everyone that Tua will throw with his left hand, visor or not. Classic McDaniel, keeping the mood light, even when the injury report feels like a novel. That's part of his charm as a coach. He knows when to be serious, and he knows when the team, and the fans, just need to laugh for a second. But for Storm Duck, there's no laughter in this chapter of the Dolphins' season. His injury, a devastating knee issue suffered late in the fourth quarter, was the kind of moment that makes the stadium go quiet. He was carted off the field after his right knee buckled during a coverage play against Atlanta's Kaderil Hodge. On the surface, it seemed like a routine route, a standard defensive assignment, until suddenly it wasn't. You could see the frustration in his body language, the disappointment that instantly washed over him. After the game, McDaniel confirmed what no one wanted to hear: Duck's season is over. This injury caps off what has been an incredibly frustrating year for Duck. He started training camp as one of the team's most promising young defensive backs, impressing coaches and teammates alike with his instincts, agility, and ball skills. His preseason performances earned him a starting role for the season opener against the Indianapolis Colts, a huge achievement for a player fighting for recognition. But that dream start was short-lived. He injured his ankle in that very first game and was sidelined for 6 straight weeks, forced to watch from the sidelines while his teammates battled through ups and downs. When he finally returned against Atlanta, it was supposed to be a redemption moment, his chance to remind everyone why he had earned that starting job. Instead, it turned into another cruel twist of fate. Now, the Dolphins face another personnel dilemma in a position group that was already razor-thin. With Duck done for the year, McDaniel and the front office will likely turn to internal options. The most logical move would be elevating one of their practice squad corners. Isaiah Johnson and Kendall Sheffield are the two names in the mix, with Sheffield having already been elevated for the last 2 games. Both have NFL experience, but neither can fully replace what Duck brought to the table in terms of on-field leadership and energy. It's one of those moments where you really start to appreciate the emotional toll of the sport, how quickly opportunity and heartbreak can trade places. Injuries didn't stop at cornerback either. The safety position took a few hits, though the damage there might be less severe. Minkah Fitzpatrick, who left the game in the fourth quarter with a thumb injury, could have returned if the score hadn't been so lopsided. That's a small relief, because anytime Fitzpatrick's name pops up on the injury report, fans get nervous. He's a cornerstone of that defense, the kind of player whose presence elevates everyone else. McDaniel clarified that the decision to keep him out was purely precautionary. Then there's Ashton Davis. His situation is trickier because of the short turnaround this week. Miami faces the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday night, and Davis is nursing a quad injury he picked up early in the game while covering a punt. He didn't return after that, and McDaniel labeled him as day-to-day. The same label applies to wide receiver D. Eskridge, who banged up his shoulder. Both are in that frustrating limbo, not healthy enough to practice fully, but not hurt badly enough to go on IR. With the short week, recovery windows shrink, and every little setback feels magnified. Speaking of IR, the status there remains completely unchanged, which, in itself, is bad news. Jason Sanders, the team's veteran kicker, is still sidelined. And the offensive line? It's been decimated. James Daniels, Austin Jackson, Andrew Meyer, and Liam Eichenberg are all still out, with no clear timetable for return. For Daniels and Jackson, the injuries came early. Both went down in the opener against the Colts, and the line has been a revolving door ever since. Meyer and Eichenberg haven't even played a snap this season, leaving McDaniel to shuffle his deck week after week, trying to keep Tua upright behind a patchwork front five. The irony here is that the Dolphins are still winning football games. They've managed to overcome all this chaos to stay competitive in the AFC. That's a testament to McDaniel's coaching, to Tua's composure, and to the resilience of a locker room that refuses to fold. But at some point, you wonder how much more they can absorb. Every week, it feels like a new headline reads, "Dolphins lose another player." And while depth and adaptability are key traits for any playoff contender, there's only so far you can stretch before things start to break down. For fans, this season has been a mix of excitement and exhaustion. The offense has looked explosive at times, fast, creative, and unpredictable. The defense, when healthy, can be suffocating. But the constant churn of injuries makes it hard to feel settled. You can't help but think about what this team might look like if it could just stay healthy for a stretch of games. Imagine Tua with consistent protection. Imagine the secondary at full strength with Duck, Fitzpatrick, and Davis all available. Imagine having Sanders back for clutch kicks instead of relying on short-term replacements. Still, that's football. It's a brutal sport, and every team deals with adversity. The Dolphins are no exception, and what's becoming clear is that their identity isn't just about flashy offense or big plays. It's about grit. It's about a team that finds ways to keep moving forward, even when the setbacks keep piling up. McDaniel's lighthearted tone about Tua's "I might seem trivial," but it's part of a bigger picture. Keeping the mood in the building loose, keeping the players believing, keeping the energy high. Because the moment you let the weight of the injuries define you, the season starts slipping away. So, as the Dolphins prepare for a short-week showdown with the Baltimore Ravens, they'll do so without Storm Duck and with several other players nursing wounds. The next man up mentality is no longer a slogan. It's a way of survival. Tua, visor and all, will lead the offense once again, and maybe he'll add a little swaggy flair to the primetime lights. But behind the jokes and smiles, there's a team that's fighting to hold its season together. Every snap matters. Every substitution is a story. And every injury tests just how deep their belief really goes. For now, Miami fans can take comfort in one thing. This team, battered as it is, still finds ways to win. The record shows a team that's very much alive in the playoff race. The locker room shows a group of men who refuse to quit. And their head coach shows that sometimes, the best way to handle adversity is with a grin, a joke, and a little bit of swagger. Storm Duck's loss will sting, no question about it. But if there's one thing we've learned from this Dolphins squad, it's that no matter how many hits they take, they just keep swimming. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Alright, football fans, hold on to your fins because the NFL world just got shaken up in the most unexpected way possible. The king himself, Derrick Henry, has officially joined the Miami Dolphins, and I swear to you, the league might not be ready for what's about to come. Yeah, you heard that right. The man who's been a walking nightmare for defenses since the day he entered the league, the human freight train out of Alabama, is now rocking that aqua and orange. The moment that photo dropped of him holding up that Dolphins jersey, it felt like the entire AFC shifted just a little. And the craziest part? Henry isn't just coming to enjoy the South Beach sunshine. Nah, he's on a mission. The man looked dead in the camera, and said he's aiming for 2,000 rushing yards this season under Mike McDaniel's offense. 2,000 yards. Again. And if anyone's crazy enough or strong enough to actually pull that off, it's Derrick freaking Henry. Think about what this means. The Dolphins already had one of the fastest, most explosive offenses in football. Tyreek Hill blazing down the field, Jalen Waddle slicing through secondaries, and Tua Tagovailoa slinging that ball like he's playing Madden on rookie mode. But now they've got a power back who's built like a tank and runs like he's got revenge on every linebacker in the league. Mike McDaniel must be grinning like a mad scientist right now, because this move gives him a new kind of chaos to unleash on opposing defenses. It's not just speed anymore. It's power, it's balance, it's dominance. Imagine the play-action possibilities. You load the box to stop Henry. Boom! Tyreek's 40 yards downfield. You drop back to protect against the deep ball. Guess what? Henry's already bulldozed his way to another first down. It's pick your poison, and no matter what you choose, you're losing. And let's not forget, this isn't some washed-up veteran chasing a paycheck or a warm climate to end his career. This is Derrick Henry, the same guy who's been one of the most feared runners of the last decade. The same guy who led the league in rushing multiple times, who stiff-arms grown men like they're tackling dummies. Yeah, he's got a few more miles on him, but he's still built different. In Tennessee, even with teams stacking 8 men in the box every Sunday, he was still ripping off highlight reel runs. Now put him behind an offensive line that's been retooled, in a system that thrives on motion and misdirection, with defenses already stretched thin because of Miami's speed. Tell me that's not a nightmare scenario for every defensive coordinator in the AFC. There's also something poetic about this move. Derrick Henry spent his entire career with the Titans, defining their identity, that old school, ground and pound, hit you in the mouth kind of football. But in Miami, he's stepping into something completely different. It's like watching a heavyweight boxer walk into a Formula One race and somehow fit right in. Mike McDaniel's offense is all about creativity, movement, timing, and yet, it might be the perfect place for Henry to evolve. He doesn't have to carry the entire offense anymore. He just has to be the hammer that finishes drives, the closer who turns a 3rd and 2 into a guaranteed first down, the guy who keeps defenses honest so the passing game can breathe. That's the beauty of it. He doesn't have to do everything, but if you know Derrick Henry, you know he'll try anyway. Now, when Henry said 2,000 yards, the internet went absolutely insane. Some fans were laughing, saying it's impossible in a pass-heavy offense like Miami's. Others were hyped, ready to see history repeat itself. But let's be real for a second. We've seen Henry do this before. We've seen him carry the ball 300-plus times and still look fresh in December. We've seen him break 99-yard runs like it's nothing. And with McDaniel designing plays that put defenders on skates, Henry might actually have cleaner running lanes than he's had in years. Picture it. Outside zone runs with Hill in motion, the defense freezing for half a second, and Henry exploding through a gap the size of a truck. You think he's not going to make the most of that? Come on. And you can already feel the culture shift in Miami. When a player like Derrick Henry walks into your locker room, it changes everything. It's not just about stats, it's about presence. He's the kind of leader who doesn't need to say much. He just works. He trains like a maniac, he plays through pain, and he demands respect. Pair that mindset with the swagger and flash of the Dolphins roster, and you've got a dangerous mix of discipline and flair. Tyreek Hill's out there talking about breaking records, Tua's trying to prove he can be elite, and now Henry's talking about 2,000 yards. That's the kind of energy that fuels a deep playoff run. That's the kind of energy that turns a good team into a contender. Let's be honest, the AFC East just got way more interesting. The Bills are still tough, the Jets have Rodgers back, and the Patriots, well, they're rebuilding. But Miami just added a nuclear weapon to their arsenal. Defenses can't just key in on Tyreek anymore. They can't blitz Tua without risking Henry steamrolling through the middle. It changes everything. And don't forget, this also helps Miami's defense. Controlling the clock with the run game keeps their explosive offense rested and their defense off the field. This isn't just about highlight plays, it's about strategy. And McDaniel, with that sharp offensive mind of his, knows exactly what he's doing. But here's the thing that really gets me. Henry's got a chip on his shoulder. You can see it. After all those years in Tennessee, after hearing the whispers that he might be slowing down, After teams passed on him in free agency thinking he'd lost a step, he's coming into Miami with something to prove. He's not just chasing yards, he's chasing respect. And when Derrick Henry's motivated, when he's angry, when he's got that fire in his eyes, it's bad news for everyone wearing a different jersey. He's not just running the football, he's sending a message. And imagine the spectacle. Derrick Henry running out onto the field at Hard Rock Stadium. Under that blazing Miami sun, the crowd going wild. Tyreek Hill bouncing around next to him, Waddle doing the Penguin celebration, and Tua smiling like he knows exactly what's about to happen. That's a movie waiting to happen. The Dolphins haven't had a power back like this in ages. They've had speed, they've had flash, but never someone who could break a game open by simply lowering his shoulder and refusing to go down. This isn't just another free agent signing. This is a statement. Miami isn't playing for fun anymore. They're coming for everything. Of course, the skeptics will be out there. They'll say he's 30, they'll bring up wear and tear, they'll question if this can work in a pass-first scheme. But that's the beauty of football. We don't know until we see it. And if we've learned anything from Derrick Henry's career, it's to never count him out. Every time people doubt him, he makes them regret it. Maybe he won't hit 2,000 yards. Maybe he'll only hit 1,515 touchdowns. But either way, he's going to make Miami better. He's going to make defenses think twice. And he's going to remind the world why they call him the king. So yeah, maybe this is just a rumor turned reality. Maybe it's the biggest offseason move we didn't see coming. But one thing's for sure, the NFL just got a lot more fun. Derrick Henry in aqua and orange isn't just a headline. It's a storm brewing over South Beach. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear it already. The roar of the crowd, the crash of pads, and the whispers spreading through the league. The king is back. And this time, he's coming for paradise. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.